What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be talking about some tips to get you a D1 offer as a wide receiver. Let's get started. Now, before we get into this video, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you would like to improve your speed, you want 50+ drills that are going to help you get faster, daily gym and on-field workouts that are also going to help your speed, explosiveness, power, balance, all improve. Check out that very first link in the description below where you can get access to all of that content for speed and agility to make you a better overall athlete and faster player. So again, very first link in that description below if you want to get faster. Let's get back to this video. All right, guys, now the first thing that I want to talk about in this video about the recruiting process for wide receivers is that it's not D1 or bust. That should not be your mentality. Your mentality should just be getting your education paid for and playing football at the next level. Now, again, especially nowadays with how the transfer portal is, you have so many different athletes going to schools for a year, balling out at maybe a smaller level school, and then transferring out to a bigger school. Now, you never want to go to a school with the mindset of, oh, I'm here to transfer, I'm here at the stepping stone, but it's a very real thing nowadays. So at the end of the day, your goal should just be trying to get recruited and play at the next level. So many people have the wrong mindset when it comes to the recruiting process. Now, with that being said, what's going to help you get recruited the most is going to be your varsity highlight tape. So what should you have on your varsity highlight tape as a wide receiver? So there's a few things, there are a few key concepts that you want to try to showcase to any college coach. And the first one is going to be explosive plays. Now, a lot of people think that, I got to go to this camp, I got to go to this showcase, I got to know this coach, I got to know that to be able to get recruited. And at the end of the day, if you're not very good, you're not going to play college football. If you're a great football player and you could help yourself by putting those plays and showcasing your ability on film, you have a higher chance of playing than the next guy. So that's what you have to focus on first. So like I said, explosive plays. So what are explosive plays? Explosive plays is where you catch a slant, you turn up and you go score for maybe 30, 40 yards. It's another explosive play. Breaking a tackle, making somebody miss, a block. All of those things are going to stand out on film, and that's what your film should consist of. Now, a lot of people think that, oh, my highlight tape's got to be 7 to 10 minutes long. You got to write this whole long thing. Guys, college coaches do not have that kind of time on their hands to be able to watch that long of a highlight tape. They want short, sweet, and to the point. Like many of you guys watch our videos because they're short, sweet, and to the point. That's how your highlight videos should be. So it should be 1 minute to 3 minutes of your best, most absolute explosive play. So again, big catches downfield, breaking tackles, making people miss, catches in traffic, catches while you get hit, blocks, all of those things is what you want to try to include in that highlight tape to set yourself up for that D1 or just a general offer. All right, guys, so now for the remainder of this video, we're going to be talking about a lot of situational stuff for wide receivers and how they can receive scholarship offers. So like situational stuff might be, oh, you go to a smaller school, how do you get noticed? Oh, maybe you play in a run-heavy offense, how do you get noticed? How do you get recruited? What are some things that you guys can do? So the first one I want to start out with is a wide receiver who's in a run-heavy offense or who maybe doesn't get a ton of targets, right? So now, listen, at the end of the day, a college coach is going to know whether he likes you or not, and he's going to know what your true position is. Those guys are professional scouts. They scout thousands of kids across the country. They know exactly what to look for, right? So if you're worried about like, well, if I have all this film on defense, but I really want to play college receiver, guys, trust me, a college coach is going to know what a college DB looks like and what a college receiver looks like. So you just have to make it known to him that you want to play wide receiver, obviously. But at the end of the day, if it can get your school paid for, who cares? Honestly, like if you're playing receiver and he wants to give you a full ride as a DB, should probably take that. And especially when you get to college, they'll recruit you as a receiver, then try to turn you into a DB when you get there, if they think that's how you can best help the team. Guys, they're professional scouts. They know exactly what to look for. Now, with that being said, the reason why I bring that up is because if you're a guy who's maybe in an offense that doesn't get a lot of targets, they run the ball 60, 70% of the time, obviously it's tough to make those explosive plays that we mentioned earlier in this video. So what you have to focus on doing is blocking, number one. Every single run play is an opportunity for a highlight. A highlight is you taking a guy, driving him into the sideline, pancaking a dude. Those are all explosive plays that are going to help you stand out. And to play at the next level, you have to be able to block. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, and this is why I talked about the whole defense spiel, play anywhere on the field that you can. Because again, at the end of the day, college coaches want athletes. Why do you think every single year in the recruiting classes that they come out with, the #1 player in the country is always labeled ATH? He's always labeled an athlete. right? So why do you think that is? Because that's what college coaches want. They want athletes. They want people who are athletic, just freaks of nature, playing anywhere on the field. That's what they want to see. So you need to increase your opportunities by getting on the field. So play special teams, play defense, obviously play offense, because that's what you're trying to get recruited as. But the more opportunities you have on the field, more opportunities you have for explosive plays to fill up that minute to 3-minute long highlight tape that we talked about. So guys, you have to get on the field. You have to get snaps. If you play at a smaller school, that is what I recommend best for you. All right, guys, the next thing that I want to talk about is what if you play wide receiver and you are in a small town? So if you're in a small town and you have dreams and aspirations of playing college football, whether that's at the Division I level, D2, D3, you just want to get your school paid for, whatever the case may be. If you are in a small town, you obviously have to promote yourself and market yourself a certain way. Now, a lot of people out there, fellas, will fall for the scam of NCSA and these other recruiting services that just want your money. Guys, now listen, I know some of you are probably signed up for NCSA. Some of you have probably spoken with them. They've signed you up for their free profile. Let me tell you something about what those guys do first, and then I'll talk about how guys at a smaller school can actually get noticed and actually get real recruiting attention. So what those guys will do is they'll try to set up, like, a phone call consultation with you. It'll be an hour-long call. It'll be a big waste of time. They'll ask you a bunch of pointless questions, and they'll try to pitch you on their free profile to start out, right? Just, oh, let us show what we can do for you, right? So what'll happen is they'll get all your information. They'll get your email. They'll get all this, all that, your GPA, all these different test scores, combine stuff. They ask you all these pointless questions that don't matter because it's a self-reported stat and they didn't actually take that stat from you. And what they'll do is they'll take that information and they'll pretty much sell your email address to a college. The college will pay for it. They sell the email address and you get all of a sudden these camp invites from these small schools you probably never even heard of. And they're saying, hey, look what we already did for you with our free profile. Why don't you sign up and pay us a whole bunch of money so we can get you an actual profile and really help you with the recruiting? And again, then you just waste your money and then you just waste your time. Guys, you could get invited to those camps regardless. Those coaches at those colleges will pay money to that recruiting service so they could get the email list so they could promote their camps. Because guys, college coaches at smaller schools don't get paid as much as the guys at USC, UCLA, Oregon, all those big time schools. So where do they make their money? In the summer, doing camps. You've got to understand the process of that. So I would not do the recruiting service. What you should do is if you're at a smaller town, you need to get your ass to some college camps. So again, not the big, let's say you're in a small town in Illinois. You probably don't want to go to the Northwestern camp. You probably want to go to a camp where there's probably 10 to 12 different college scouts there that are specifically there to recruit. They call this I believe a satellite camp or something of that nature. But you need to go to those camps. You're going to have to probably do some traveling. You're going to have to invest some money and invest some time, but that's how the process starts. So when you go to those camps, you should be trying to meet coaches, build connections. So when you have that contact list of people that you've met at these different camps, when you get that good varsity highlight tape like we talked about earlier in this video, that's people you could send it out to that you actually have a real relationship with. You have to get out there and you have to go to those bigger cities. Now, another thing that you can do is let's use that Illinois example, right? So let's say you're small town, you're maybe 3 hours outside of Chicago, kind of middle of nowhere situation. You should try to figure out who does most of the recruiting for these bigger schools in Chicago, because college coaches visit the big markets, right? They're going to go to Dallas. They're going to go to Houston. They're going to go to Southern California, Northern California. That's where they do the recruiting. They don't spend so much time in the small towns because it's not the most time efficient thing that they can do. And that's no problem. You got to understand that that's just part of the game. But what you need to do is you need to find out who those guys are from these schools. They call them recruiting coordinators. They're in charge, a college coach, for example, won't send their receiver coach to 50 states to recruit. They'll send an offensive lineman to recruit the entire Midwest, an offensive line coach to recruit the entire Midwest for all positions, and go over guys who are on their board, who they might be interested in, who they've communicated with in the past. You need to find out who that is. And when you can find out who that is, that's who you should be sending your film to, reaching out to, asking if he's going to come down to your area, and just try to build that connection with him. And going to camps is a great way to meet that guy in person. So that's what you should do. Do not fall for the recruiting scams, the recruiting agencies. Don't do it. You can do it yourself. Those guys don't do anything for you. That will help you. All right, guys, so the next situation I want to talk about is a senior wide receiver who has maybe not played as much, does not have a lot of film. Maybe they battled injuries, sitting behind a higher recruited guy, and you're going into your last year of high school. How can you get recruited and how can you play at the next level? So I'm going to be real with you. If you're a senior, no film whatsoever, no college coaches are on you, you haven't been recruited by anybody, maybe a couple smaller schools, whatever the situation is, it is very, very tough to go D1 based on that route. Now, listen, I'm not saying that it's impossible. I'm not saying that you can't go to a D1 school, because I've seen it happen before. I've seen guys absolutely kill it their senior year, best player around, not even close, and they'll get a Division I scholarship offer with little to no varsity film, just 1 year. But it is very, very unlikely because most of those schools already have their recruiting class set by the time your senior year is over. So you got to honestly think about your options. So there are a couple things that you can do. One, playing JUCO ball. So JUCO ball is like junior college, community college. Essentially what that is, let's say you have a great senior year, maybe you get some recruiting attention from smaller schools. You feel you're a D1 guy, you just haven't gotten an opportunity to show it yet. You can go to a junior college. Now, a junior college is where you would go, you play 2 years there, you're getting your associate's degree in college. And essentially what you do is let's say you start right away, which is sometimes unlikely depending on the school that you go to. You could also gray shirt, which means that you go to classes, you get your year of school done, but you still have 2 years of eligibility left at that JUCO. But that's a different conversation. So let's say you go in, you start at that JUCO right away. You have an opportunity to get recruited to a Division I school from JUCO. And Division I schools recruit players from JUCO to play right away at their school. They're not recruiting you from JUCO to develop you. They're hoping that you are already developed and you developed at that junior college. So that is an option. That's something that I highly recommend for guys who maybe don't have as much high school film, because it's still an opportunity to go D1. It's just a little bit different route, and everybody's journey is a little bit different. So JUCO is something you could absolutely do. Number two, and this is a popular one that I don't necessarily like all that much for everybody, is walking on. So a lot of people think like, oh, I didn't get recruited, I'm just going to go walk on here, right? And it's like, guys, you got to understand that walking on is incredibly challenging. Possible, not saying it's impossible, because you hear about all the great stories like Baker Mayfield, walking on, winning the job. I get it. I understand that. But you got to understand that even getting a real tryout is pretty close to impossible at one of these big schools when they don't even know who you are. Guys, but here's how the walk-on process goes. There's a tryout date that they'll have in the summer. And if you're not a preferred walk-on, you don't start practices with the team until you start the fall semester. So there's two kinds of walk-ons. There's a regular walk-on and then a preferred walk-on. A preferred walk-on is you start practice with them during fall camp. So you start before the semester starts. Non-preferred walk-on, just nobody. You're just a number to those guys, honestly, if you even make the team, because you'll have a tryout. There'll be a bunch of people there. And guys, it's just it's like a regular college camp. Like, there's a ton of people. It's hard to even get noticed. It's hard to get a lot of attention. So the walking on process is great. It can happen. If it's a preferred walk-on, I recommend the situation if you can financially afford college. Guys, college is not cheap. It's more expensive every single year. JUCO, especially in California where I'm at, pretty much free. Right? So why not go there for 2 years, develop, get more film, maybe get recruited to a bigger school than what you would have already walked on to, okay? And you're still earning your associate's degree, so you only can spend 2 years at that 4-year university. So I recommend the JUCO route. Another route is a prep school route. So prep school is pretty much like you go for like an extra year after high school. It's very, very expensive. You would probably need a scholarship if you do not come from a lot of financial means, but you don't lose a year of eligibility, and it's just like JUCO, but you're not playing college football. So if you play a year there, you still have 4 years of eligibility left in the NCAA. So those are your options. I recommend the JUCO route if you're a senior wide receiver and you do not have any film currently. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We always appreciate the feedback. And if you are a wide receiver and you would like to get faster, you want 50+ speed drills that you guys can do with 5 new speed drills added onto that 50 every single week, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to help you guys get faster this year. I'll see you guys next time.